Alright, sorry about the issue. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but my streaming program unfortunately just completely lost connection to the servers for streaming. It took me a moment to get it fixed, but I honestly don't know what happened. So, I do apologize. I hope, we can finish off the deck here for the games like we were planning. I'm not entirely sure where it dipped out, but we just finished up the match. I think it dipped out like right after I finished the match and we went 7-2 with the deck. And I was going to go ahead and just go for the last round here, just to get it the best of 10. I was really hoping to see how well this can do, because I was actually just making a comment where I wasn't sure if this deck would perform this well. I think that's around where the thing cut out on. Okay. We have a pretty awesome looking hand. If we can actually finally see a Delver flip right away, this could be amazing. Yeah, I gotta go for it. I just gotta go for it. Trust the opponent doesn't have a 1 cost to remove it. Or a 2 cost. Because if this gets to sit on the board and transforms, which, again, sad Delver times. I mean, Ledger Shredder's still a good draw, don't get me wrong, but if we could have transformed that, we could have gone for the combat research, held up Spell Pierce, and been in such a commanding position in this fight. How many times am I going to put down a turn 1 Delver and just never see it flip until, like, turn 5? I probably still should have gone for the combat research. Would have been able to get to the Ledger Shredder a potential counter. And we would have been able to, like, draw a card, get ourselves the Spell Pierce. Yeah, no, I misplayed, but... Oh, I'm just... I guess I'm just a little tilted that I can play a Delver and just never see it flip. Did we get it? No. Oh, my Delvers make me so sad. Combat research. We go for the attack. They go for a binding. We counterspell with dissipate. Alright, I'm gonna keep the make disappear. No, I don't. I'm gonna give up make disappear. I'm gonna hold up Vandal. The opponent's clearly a control deck, and if they hit us with a board wipe, we're gonna need Vandal to come back to the board and give us presence again. Yep, see? It's a good thing we didn't discard the way we were originally saying we were going to. But, man, that is so annoying. We had that on the board for so long, and it just refuses to flip. Delver's Secrets, one of the strongest and weakest cards probably ever imagined. Alright, combat research. Opponent has so much mana, I don't think the Spell Pierce is going to do much here. But we go for it. Opponent. Yep, see, we don't get the value because things went too slow. A Delver that you get on turn 1 and it doesn't transform for 3 turns, you're not moving fast enough most of the time to get the pressure you need. The only time where the Delver would have been able to transform so far is the turn right after they board wiped, and we didn't get a new Delver to the board. Memory Deluge. We find some good cards here. We'll grab these two. Pass it to the opponent. Now, I think we're against a Azure-style deck, possibly, or it's just straight-up Domain. We attack. It'll be the opponent's turn. Kind of wonder what the opponent's waiting on to cast for the board here. 3 Devils? Sure, you can have 3 Devils. They have a faster clock than us, because, we don't have any draw for this Vandal. I think we're just going to lose these 3 Devil tokens, because I felt that we needed to hold the counterspell for something more important. Well, we can use Fading Hope to get rid of one of those. A land to the bottom. Counterspell that. I wonder how many cards the opponents actually exile our graveyard. That's fine. So we lose out on Memory Deluge Flashback. Oh my gosh, how many lands is that now? So we have 8 lands that we've gone through. I'm only a 22 land card deck. Yes, you have the briefcase. We'll consider we get the Grow. We'll keep the Syncopate. At this point, I'm going to hold back. I don't think our opponent actually runs any creature spells in their deck. They're just all creatures from tokens. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Block here. Spell Pierce. We get the Shredder of Ledgers. Hey there, Ruscio. How things going? We give that a make disappear. We sacrifice our Ledger. This is a very sad last game for this deck, though. I ended up building a deck that, like, used Delver's Secrets here, Arusio, and we could not get this to transform. We played it on turn 1, and it wouldn't. It just refused to transform. All right. What you got, opponent? We have drawn almost exactly half our lands. We have gotten about halfway through our deck, so I guess we can't complain about that. But yep, that's good game. And to slap me in the face, deck's gonna go. Here's more land. Ah! Yeah, no, that was a terrible last hand there. All right. Well, I mean, overall, the deck still performed really well. So, this was the deck we were running. This is just mono blue tempo. We were trying to go with the idea we play small things, keep things off the board, use lots of counterspell magic. And this Delver's Secrets just did not want to flip in a number of games, and we are running a ton of instants and sorceries, or actually just all instants, to be able to transform it. And it just, when we got it to transform, it was usually after it got to the board for at least 3 turns. So that's just some bad RNG in our favor. But the Academy Lore Master worked out really well in most of our games. And I think that this is actually a pretty good card. Now, I do think the Combat Research, I think this is one of those cards that I might only want to run 2 copies instead of 3. Because unlike the other variations of this card that have been printed, it doesn't give us like the +1/+1 right away. Or if we were to have the white-blue variant, give us a lifelink as well as the +1/+1 for drawing. So it's not a bad card, but it only really works well with our Fairy Vandal. And it's great if we can have those together. Ledger Shredder is also another one of those cards. I would love it if we have the Dijin, but like I said, I don't have it in the deck because I don't have any copies of it. I can't spell Jin right. There it is. So, the Haughty Dijin I would recommend for the deck idea because it does get power equal to the number of instant sorcery spells that are in our graveyard, and it also reduces our mana cost on our spells by 1. Now, the need to reduce the cost on spells isn't super imperative because most of our cards, as you can see, don't really have a huge cost to them. But the extra cost reduction is still very valuable to us because it makes Syncopate just a lot more better, a lot better of a card in general. The Make Disappears becoming 1 also still very, very powerful. They're basically an improved version of Spell Pierce. But the other reason why we want the cost reduction is because if we go for the Lore Master's draw, the extra 2 more to cast actually can be reduced by the Dijin's effect, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if it does work that way, it'd be great. But there's a possibility it doesn't, and I haven't been able to play it to test it to be absolutely sure. These taxation rules, I think, goes that we don't get the cost reduction, but it's still fine. It works really well with most of our other cards. But, any which case, should both affect the converted mana cost? Well, that's the thing is, I think they both do affect it, but I think because this adds an extra 2 to the cost as an after the fact, I don't think this can be affected by a cost reduction. But I think it does. So, because it's if something's adding to the mana cost, there's no reason why I say a cost reducer wouldn't allow you to bring it back down. So that's why I say I think you're able to get away with it reducing the cost, but it would be one of those things I want to see how it plays in the game to be certain. But I'm out of the rare crafts, and if I was to include the Jin into the deck, it would be taking the places of Ledger Shredder, probably. Okay, I get what you're saying on the medallion cards. But those old medallion cards are just that. They're old. There's been tons of changes to rules since those cards have existed. I'm not sure if they still are treated the same. I imagine they are, but that's why I wasn't 100% sure. Alright. Well, that does it for the mono blue tempo. We ended up doing, like I said, pretty well. 7 and 3, not bad. The Sultai control deck, not the best stats for how we could have asked for it, but it was still fun. We'll try to get a couple games with this deck. I forgot to put the lands in. I do apologize. Let me quickly get the lands. And do I want... Just double checking, making sure everything's good. Okay. Alright, that should do it. I don't want to run too many of these tap lands, if I can help it. So, let me update the stream info real quick, because we're switching decks. And I call this one Invoke Kyrie Gitaxis. Alright. So, Invoke Kyrie Gitaxis is the idea that we are playing Invoke Justice. So we get a return target permanent card from our graveyard to the battlefield. Then we get to distribute 4+1/+1 among any number of creature cards and or vehicles that player controls. The great thing about this is if we actually have Jin Gitaxis on the board, we can double up the Invoke and get more cards, more counters put onto our permanents. The other thing that's great about this deck is we have Kyrie the Swirling Sky. So when Kyrie the Swirling Sky manages to die, we get to mill 6 cards, and then we can return up to 2 instants and or sorceries from our graveyard back to our hand. This means that we can get back Invoke Justice from our graveyard and be able to play it, get it back to the board. Or we can also, like I said, go for Jin Gitaxis. The goal is actually to keep being able to loop it with Kyrie. Gitaxis is in the deck just because it's just great value still, because it automatically counterspells your opponent's first artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, and if we play an artifact, instant, or sorcery, we get to double it up. This is particularly useful because we do have Faithful Mendings to help us loot, to fill the graveyard for the purpose of the Invoke Justice, but it's extra life, draw, and value that way. We have the Faithful Absence and March Otherworldly Light as removal options. Because of Jin Gitaxis' ability to double up artifacts, I went for draw option in Bankbuster, because Bankbuster is still a great just early play to get draw value. But if we end up playing it after a Gitaxis is on board, it's just that much more vehicle fun. We also run a copy of Unlicensed First in the deck because there's tons of reanimation going around, and this gives us a way to fight against the reanimators. The other thing is it also just has the ability to potentially spin out of control as this huge vehicle that can slam lethal just by getting a crew, and we can crew easily with just the Wandering Emperor tokens if we ever hit these on board, or we get a Rafine's Informant that we're running just for the purpose of the Connive to draw, discard, find our important cards. We also go with some Restoration of Iganjo because we are kind of a intensive mana deck for purpose of Invoke Justice and these large creatures that will often try to just use this to go find a land and then discard a land, put land from graveyard back to the board, and get the ramp going that way. Other cards to help us out, we have 3 Depopulates and 1 Farewell, and some Dissipates. Because we just need some general control. So we're mostly control with Reanimator to it, and we'll just see how this works out. Alright. Considering it's already on the later side, and I lost a bit of time due to some weird connection issue, we'll only do about 3 games of this. And we'll probably pick up some more games next stream. Because I figure these games are going to go along with this one. Alright. This seems like a pretty keepable hand, so we will. So we can go for the Rafine's Tower for land 1. Play 2, it will be Binkbuster. Then we can go for the Restoration. So we have a curve going. Okay. Go for the blue source. I feel like the opponent's just sitting on Counterspell Magic, so I'm gonna pass. Hold up our Counterspell Magic and have Binkbuster. Yeah, I'll still counterspell it. That wasn't really something we needed to counterspell, but I didn't feel like just activating Binkbuster for the draw was going to be... Because we're going to take 2 damage from it coming into play, then another 2 afterwards. Discard, get the land to play. Play the Wastes. Pass it to the opponent. Hold the Marches for if our opponent plays something we don't like. Opponent. I'm going to say... I'm going to exile your Binkbuster. What do you respond with? Alright, they respond with drawing, which is perfectly fine, because now we don't have to worry about a counterspell to resolve this Kyrie. Alright, we have a pretty good board here. And we'll actually go ahead and crew here. And get some damage in. See, how much mana do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, opponent scooped it up. I was actually counting my mana, so that way I could know if I could mill... If this were to die, mill myself, be able to use the Invoke Justice and hold up the Dissipate mana. But it didn't matter. We got a lot of power on the board fairly, not quickly I would say, but it was at a pretty good rate. See, we were on that turn representing 10 damage. Alright, on the open, I'm not going to keep this one. Just a little too worried about our land draws. Alright, we'll keep this one. We'll go down on the Farewell. Might have wanted to have kept that farewell. Land pass. So if they evolve, level up Evolve Sleeper, it turns into a 2/2. Oh, they're going to pilfer us. Well, unfortunately, we're going to lose one of these cards. Now, which card do they hate more? Probably March. Might be the Dissipate. I'm betting it's March. Yep. Because if they let us keep March, we can just land, hold up, and deal with the Sleeper. Doing what they did made it so that way we still didn't have any potential play. Shakedown heavy for our opponent. Okay. Go Restoration. I hate the idea that our opponent could just drop a Shouldered this turn. Alright, Liliana I'm fine with. Still bad for us. But it doesn't do anything to us right away. We have to give them the card, because I don't think we can suffer that damage right now. Give up the Pain Land. Gonna discard the Informant and revive it. Discard the Hearse. Land pass. The Hearse actually might have been something I wanted to keep against this opponent. We're going to take the hit. This way, they don't have the ability to just get easy discard value for the Liliana, where they can stay ahead of the discard plus. Fun's leveling up the Sleeper, and it looks like I'm going to level up one more time. That's not good. Hit Lily. Because we want to keep her off that -6. Yeah, this Lily's going to be an issue, because now we can't even play our large cards. We'll take the action. No blocks. Well, we'll go ahead and give him the GGs. We got no interaction. While we could attack both, kill the Lily, we lose one of our attackers here. Going to be the Architect, there's no denying that. But they just have too much value going on them. Yeah, if it wasn't for the opponent getting that early Pilfer to keep us off of interacting with them. I mean, it wasn't just the early Pilfer. They just had a pretty decent hand for handling us, considering we just drew mostly lands. Alright. On the open, no white sources, not a keep. Alright, I'll keep this one. And we'll put Gitaxis on the bottom. Hello, opponent. We got a farewell. I think we'll discard it. Our opponent's going to bounce it back to our hand, but that's fine. Let's attempt to bring it to the board. See if it gets counterspelled. We'll discard Faithful Mending this time. Power down just to get the flexible mana. Since we don't have any way to play anything with 1 mana. Our opponent's going to get thirsty. Alright, Lily. Let's kill her. And go for Bankbuster. Alright, no surprise by the Sheoldred, and fortunately I forgot to put a stop on my upkeep, so I didn't lose to 2 life. But we'll get Restoration now. I'll discard the Mending. Oh, that's an Invoke Justice. Pass it to the opponent. So we got the Invoke Justice. It'd be great if we can get one of our creatures that's actually, you know, worth using it on. Funny thing is, you can actually target your lands in your graveyard. It's actually something to make note of, because if you have a creature on board that you're looking to just smash with, and you have lethal because you can place the counters. Alright, go for the Faithful Mending from the graveyard. Discard, discard. I actually want to go for the Hearse first here, so that I can just eat the graveyard. And we'll eat Deluge and Lily. Actually, I should have eaten the Sheoldred in all honesty, but... Because they more than likely run the Gix Saga, which allows them to revive any creature or planeswalker from their graveyard. Okay. So we lose the Restoration. Alright, Indulgence is just a straight draw 2 for the opponent because they have so many different card types in their graveyard. By card types, I mean mana costs. Okay. Unfortunately, I think our opponent's just sitting on like a handful of potential counterspells. Let's attempt a Restoration. Pass it to the opponent. I'm holding up the Hearse now just in case our opponent has Recursion. Well, it looks like they're going to steal from us. They can't do instant speed Recursion right now, so I'll take away the Sheoldred, and we'll take away the Fading Hope. Opponent's turn. So out of the 2 cards, they take one of them from us. No clue what it is. The worst that they could probably steal from us would be Jin Kataxis or one of our counterspells. Because we know that they can't steal the Farewell since the 1-of's already in the graveyard. We draw another card. More land. Alright, there's Gitaxis. Decline that. We'll only have 2 mana available to us after we attempt it. Go to Crew and go for an attack. Okay. Spell 1 from their hand gone. I'll attempt it. I'll see if I can get it to stick. We have 3 mana, so if the opponent has the pay 2 more mana spell, we can pay it. But if they have... Looks like they stole one of our counter spells. Nope. Alright, they're siphoning. That's a Desperation Dig. So we just have to hope that they don't steal a counterspell from us. Alright, that's another Siphon, so they didn't get what they were looking for. No clue what they steal. Pass it to the opponent. So now the first spell that they cast... Yeah, whenever an opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, that spell ability only triggers once each turn. So we'll be able to get 1 free go against a removal spell. Alright. Resolve. Alright, opponent's going to use our Depopulate against this. Wonder how many of the board wipes they stole from us, because we actually have 3 depopulates. We'll eat some more cards. Take away the 1 cost. Take away the land. I don't expect them to be able to play the cards back from their graveyard. I'm just making it so that where they have to discard off Tainted Indulgence. I'm going to try to invoke some Justice and bring back Gitaxis. Now, if they go for a counterspell here, we just crew up the hearse, swing in 6. Let's go counters like that. Oh, wait, no. I don't want to attack, because they have 4 mana, they stole cards from us, we have Wandering Emperor in our deck. Wandering Emperor isn't affected by Gitaxis. Oh, I should have put 1 land to the board, just in case Faithful Mending actually helps us get to a counterspell if we need it. That could bite us. Might as well Mending now, while we have Gitaxis on board. Discard these. And discard... Discard. Nah, I don't need the land. Never mind. Take away 2 more cards from our opponent's graveyard. Go for Bankbuster. Go for the card draw right now. Yes, I'll go for Mending right now as well. Find another Gitaxis. I don't think I need to depopulate. And we'll give up 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll give up the land. Alright. Opponent's turn. I'm still wondering what the opponent stole from us. It could have ended out with a couple of lands. Like they had a double land pick. Oh, they stole our Kyrie. Okay. Well, it's a good thing that we were eating all those spells out of their graveyard. Let's see. Take away both of these. Gitaxis to the board. Opponent's turn. So Gitaxis itself won't get us past the Kyrie. Okay. They tell us to sacrifice. We crew Bank Buster. Sacrifice Bank Buster. We'll draw a card. Right, opponent tries to bounce it, but Gitaxis counterspells. And they march. That, unfortunately, does get rid of our 2 cards there. Unfortunate. We still get the card draw. Nothing for 1 will interact with the opponent here. Quite the set of ups and downs on this match. Opponent goes in for the attack, though. Very bold of them, considering their life total and our vehicle. Our vehicle actually swings lethal because of the 3 +1/+1 counters we put on it. Now the question is, can we find one of our counterspells? Just to give us the extra protection. Discard to populate. Go for another informant. Discard absence. Gonna go for the attack. The opponent either has the answer here or they die. Good game? They thirst. Do they find a Fading Hope? That's the only card for 1 mana that saves them here that I can think of. Did you get it? They have a pause. They could have a cut down, which only, yep, that only can target the informants. So we get there. Fortunately, the audio on the game cut out weird. I thought they had this audio thing fixed. Alright, so that was what, 1 game? Wow, that took a while. Control versus control, right? Man, unfortunately, how late it is now. I hope you all enjoyed that 1 match because of how long it took. Because we're gonna have to wrap up the stream here. Glad you are so excited about how that match went there, Ruscio. I think we have a interesting deck. I'm gonna try it out more during the next stream, and we will be back on tomorrow. We'll be on at 4 o'clock, and we will be hitting up more of the standard queue. Now, I actually do have a couple other decks already set up for playing with. So, I had the Invoke Gitaxis deck here. I have a Dimir control deck. I have the Selesny enchantments, basically trying to see if it still works. And we also have Domain Burn, which I got inspired from drafting to try to build this deck. Will it work? No clue. Going to be interested to see if it can. But, in any case, thank you all for joining me for the night. We'll go ahead and wrap it here. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, our YouTube has been updating with some more content. So if you haven't had a chance to check out our YouTube, here is a link for you to go see what we're doing. Most recent uploads have been the recent drafts that we've been doing. But yeah, I'll catch you later too, Ruscio. It was nice seeing you again. Don't always get to see it in the chat. I always do appreciate when you show up. If you manage to actually catch the mono blue deck, I know it's not your style of mono blue. I'm still trying to work on trying to build big blue control for you, but I haven't figured out how to get it to work yet. So give me a moment, a little bit longer to get that deck for you. Part of it's also I just need to get the craft cards. But in any case, I know we're a small party, but if you're willing to stick around, we'll go hit up a raid to somebody. If you have any suggestions on who you'd like us to raid, feel free to shout them out. But in the meantime, I'll just look at our list to see who we have available. Let's see. If you're interested, the Wizard 138 is doing some streaming. We'll go ahead and hit them up with the raid. Well, yeah, I know how much you love the Mind Flayer Glass Pool Mimic stuff, and I was trying to see if I could build something like that with the new Song Singer. But unfortunately, I couldn't quite get that to work to the same degree. I'm still like playing with the deck design on it, and with how there's so much removal and recursion and drawing like value to try to play to, it's going to be a little tough to try to figure out how to get the steal your opponent's cards deck to be built. Best I can offer is so far is a black-blue deck. But the build is it's still a work in progress. Now, the black-blue steal is going with the spell that steals from your opponent's top of deck, and you steal cards out of their graveyard, because I feel like those are the strong cards against the current meta. The Song Singer, it's a completely different deck. You get the card in the deck because it's a decent card, not because you're just only about stealing your opponent's stuff. So I hope you'll look forward to the idea that I have for you. But in which case, we're heading out on the raid. I wish you all a nice night and enjoy your time. Oh.
CG stream, rating us the party of 85 million viewers. Cheers, I appreciate the CG stream. How's your stream? What are you up to? Cheers, thank you very much for the raid. Anybody here from CNG's stream? My name is Wizard138, not my real name. I'm here hanging out, playing a part of the Wizard Cup. Well, the end of the Wizard Cup. But I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a shout out for you. Anybody who doesn't follow CNG stream, please feel free to go do so. Typing correctly. Oh my gosh, seriously. There's a link for you all. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you very much. I mostly play Magic the Gathering. I do play some survival games, And a few of the things here and there as well. Oh god. I think it's trample now as well. I'm probably gonna cut my giant. I guess I can save the giant. Does it matter if I save the giant? If I want to save the giant, I can't cast anything else in my hand, which is bad, right? I'm gonna punch one of my things. No. I can save the Jaya. Does it matter though?